What if Necrozma was in Gen 1 Ubers? I've wanted to cover Necrozma and its other three forms for the longest time, and since I'm getting close to 300 uploads of the What If series, as well as getting close to 1200 subscribers, this feels like the perfect celebration. Although, I'm going to warn you guys right now, Necrozma is a good Pokemon. It's gonna not struggle too much with Ubers. In fact, if anything, being a Psychic type, this is probably the perfect place you can put any of the Necrozma forms. So, for these 4 videos, it's not going to be a question of will it be good? The question we'll be having to ask is, which one is the best? And how should we rank them? Because I won't have 1v1 replays for this video, but I'm also going to try to make these with the idea that there's species clause, and if you have to use one form of Necrozma, which one are you using in Gen 1 Ubers? Let's start with the base form. This one already was pretty good, and I wasn't planning on doing it originally, but people in my Discord server talked about its signature moves. Now let me make this clear right now, even if this thing only had Psychic for a Psychic move, it's already phenomenal, and would be really, really good. But Photon, I think it's Photon Geyser. I never really heard of this move before, and I was shocked once I realized it actually works. This alone is kind of breaking OU, or Ubers, I guess. But even without that, this is a great Pokemon. Its stats are amazing. 97 HP is pretty good for the time, above average. And its defense is 101, 89, great. 79 speed isn't even that bad. It means you outspeed Cloyster. You don't have to worry about getting cheesed with Clamp. And then that special attack set is terrifying. Pure Psychic, as you can imagine, is good in Gen 1. And then, it's move pool. Oh my gosh, it's move pool. So, it has Sword Stance, Earthquake, and Hyper Beam. This already would make it really, really good in Ubers. It would be like Mew, except Mew doesn't really use Hyper Beam since it has, well, Explosion. But also Soft Boiled, which is unfortunately something that Necrozma doesn't have. Originally, I was going to say Necrozma is different because it can use a powerful Psychic. And at 127, it has one of the most powerful base attacks in the game. But there's 2 moves it can use. Now the other one, I'm going to go down for it, but it has a Psychic type Hyper Beam basically. I forget what it's called though. But it's, oh here we go, Prismatic Laser. 160 base power, so it's actually stronger, more accurate than Hyper Beam. I didn't use it here because I think Necrozma base is primarily a Sword Stance user. But you better believe, at the very least for Ultra Necrozma, it's going to want to use it. And it will be one of the most terrifying things ever. But to be honest, Photon Geyser is just a lot better. So right off the bat, it does have a chance to lower special, but it's 100 base power, and if the physical attack is higher than the special, it becomes a physical move instead. So in other words, this thing has a slightly stronger Psychic that can hit things that are physical tanks like Rhydon and Cloyster. However, you can use one Sword Stance, and it's suddenly a physical move, which means Chansey's gonna die to it, and if you get a Sword Stance up, Earthquake and Hyper Beam are already dangerous options anyways, but now you can just really mess something up. Granted, with this moveset, you need Hyper Beam exactly in order to kill Executor, since it resists both Photon Geyser and Earthquake. At the same time, even if it's resisted, a Sword Stance boosted Photon Geyser is doing a lot of damage to Eggy. Honestly, I almost feel like I should include this move. It just feels a little too easy. So you can let me know in the comments, for the other Necrozma forms, should I still include this move? Or does it make things a little too broken? Please let me know in the comments below. But now that all of that's out of the way, let's get right into the replays. And it has been a while since I've done an Ubers video, so things are going to be done a little bit differently now. Instead of doing it like how I usually do, with the big three, but also Mew and Mewtwo in this case, and then going alphabetically, instead, I'm actually going to go in the order of the most recent viability rankings. I'm not going to go all the way down to F tier, though I kind of was tempted to since freaking Charizard actually makes it on the viability rankings. But it's just going to be going down to B- tier. But trust me, you're going to see some faces that you never really see on my channel. But for now, let's start with the king of Ubers himself, Mewtwo. And both these guys are setting up, so it's really just a more so matter of the fact that Mewtwo is faster. Now, going for 2 Amnesias and 2 Sword Stands is just objectively the wrong play. You already threaded 2 KOs, which is 1 boost for each, which is definitely what you should do instead. And for Necrozma, Hyper Beam, I don't think Hyper Beam kills at full HP even with Sword Stance. So I'm going to say for the most part this is technically in Mewtwo's favor, I'm going to say. Now, there's also the fact that Mewtwo just has a good crit rate, and along with a good crit rate, you also have other things like Freeze from Ice Beam or Paralysis from Thunderbolt. They're not super likely, but I think those are just extra factors that just put the fight in Mewtwo's favor. But still, if Mewtwo is paralyzed, Necrozma has a really good shot at winning. But at the same time, Necrozma can also get paralyzed. Now for Mew, Mew is faster, but Necrozma hits a little bit harder. So I don't know. I think it still technically goes in Mew's favor by virtue of it being faster. And also, you're going to see right here, not optimal play whatsoever, but Necrozma kept on critting, and I really just want to see how much Hyper Beam would do. Looking back at it, it's kind of stupid. I think just 1 Hyper Beam along with a Sword Stance boosted Earthquake is more than enough. In fact, now that I think about it, there's probably not any real situations where Necrozma needs to go for a second Sword Stance. I'm pretty sure 1 Sword Stance with Earthquake, Photon Geyser, and Hyper Beam is more than enough to take on anything. So keep that in mind if you try to use this thing yourself. And I'm sure from my Discord server, we'll have an Ubers format with Necrozma eventually. Now Snorlax. Snorlax is incredibly dangerous. And I guess there's actually one example where Psychic's probably better. Unless Sword Stance in the Photon Geyser Okos, which even though it's really strong, I kind of doubt. I'm pretty sure no matter what, Snorlax is a massive threat with paralyzing you and then going for self-destruct. And then next up is Executor. It's not even Chansey or Tauros. Also, actually, nah, I don't think Psychic or Photon Geyser really matter too much here. It's really about getting a Sword Stance off and then killing with Hyper Beam. And probably not the hardest thing in the world. I don't usually include Sleep Powder, but this was a case where I felt like I can use it, solely because I knew Executor probably wasn't going to break it. And Hyper Beam, does it kill from here? Let's see. Yeah, it kills when you're at 60 something. So, the Necrozma has it not that bad really. It might get paralyzed, assuming there's something else already asleep, but a Sword Stance, Earthquake, and then Hyper Beam. I guess in reality, Executor probably knows it's done for and goes for Explosion, but whatevs. Next up is Tauros. And this probably is one where it kind of does matter between the difference of Psychic and Photon Geyser. If that was Photon Geyser instead, it would straight up just be a Queen 2 hit KO. But despite that, with Tauros threatening Paralysis and a good crit rate, it's still pretty dangerous. So I think I'm still going to keep it in Cuckoo either way. Even though the Necrozma more consistently takes it out now. And then Chansey. You're going to get another Chansey replay later. But for now, just look at how even just Earthquake alone is enough to take it on. Although, as you can see, you probably need Stab to OHKO it, but at the same time, Hyper Beam is probably more than enough. I guess it's also worth saying that you could probably swap out Hyper Beam for something else if you really want. Like, there's the Prismatic Light move, and there's probably Rest and some other things you can do. But I don't know. I think Hyper Beam is pretty nice for, what's it called, Executor. But I guess now that has a base 100 stab move, it might not really need it. Just like how you don't really need it if you're a stab ground type. Now, I guess now it doesn't really matter. Or actually, between Psychic and Earthquake, I don't think it mattered too much between which one you use against Gengar, because both failed to kill it. Although between those two, I'd recommend Psychic, because at the very least, you don't bait in ground immune Pokemon, and there's more to gain if they switch and then there's a special drop. But I don't know if Photon Geyser is an OHKO or not. If you know the calc, let me know in the comments. But let's keep moving. Now we have Rhydon. And Psychic already is a clean 2-hit KO, so Photon Geyser is just even better at that. Not too much to really say there. One thing I will say though is that I was surprised to see Rhydon ranked higher than things like Zapdos. Well, here we have a Slowbro, and normally for physical attackers, even Swords Dancers, it can be kind of annoying. But thankfully, Earthquake into Hyper Beam, Slowbro can only really manage to go for 1 Amnesia, and then after that, Necrozma is able to secure a 2-hit KO with Hyper Beam. So now that I'm looking at this replay again, I'm once again reverting what I just said. I think Hyper Beam needs to be a mainstay. Seems like it's kind of the main move you need in order to beat both Slowbro and Executor. And I'd say both of them are better than they are in Ubers than they are in OU. Now we have Zapdos, and Zapdos, I don't know, it's not doing the best here. It's not really hitting the Necrozma too hard with Drill Peck. Thunderbolt could be annoying, and I guess now that you're not using Psychic, Zapdos doesn't have to worry about a special drop. I might change this to could go either way. I don't know. This one I'm not really sure about. By the way, we're gonna... Yes, you see Hypno on screen. I decided to skip some of the Pokemon in A- and B+. That would be Alakazam, Jinx, and Starmie. And that's mostly because I feel like they're just too similar to how it is with Chansey. They're status users, or psychic Pokemon, and all of them kind of just get really destroyed by Swords Dance Necrozma with Earthquake and Hyper Beam. And I already made 19 replays for this, so I felt like that weren't necessary too much. But if you just want to know, a quick TLDR, Jinx and Zam just do not stand a chance if Necrozma has a Swords Dance up. The best Zam can do is Paralyze, and Jinx can try to fish for Freeze, assuming it can't put it to sleep. But they're really just kind of doomed. Starmie with its better physical bulk has a better chance, and Starmie could potentially be an annoying switch into Necrozma. But at the same time, if Starmie uses the first turn to go for Paralysis, Necrozma with Swords Dance probably just destroys it with Earthquake. And I doubt Starmie can recover up the damage. If anything, going to recover just makes it easy to kill with Hyper Beam. But now let's get into Hypno. What makes Hypno different from them? I guess it's technically bulkier than Jinx and Zam, but mostly just cheesing with Headbutt. No one wants to see this, so thank goodness the Necrozma killed Hypno with Hyper Beam there. Deserved. But now we're going, and it's Golem. Golem is usable because it has Explosion. But if Rhydon gets 2-hit KO'd, Golem is not doing better. And yes, I did 51. But again, Photon Geyser should be better. So that trade-up does, 2-hit KO. And unfortunately for Jolteon, not sure you even noticed, but I kept Necrozma's Prism Armor on, which really makes it unbeatable. Look at this. Pin Missile is now doing a third or a fourth less. How do you beat that? Necrozma, if it can't take damage from Pin Missile, is truly unstoppable. Everyone be sure to give your 07s to Jolteon in the chat, and give your condolences to Beedrill when it inevitably fails to beat Necrozma. Here's another chance at replay, and here's where I finally realized that Photon Geyser is a real move. And ay, it doesn't get an Oko. You can probably tell because... You can probably tell that I wasn't expecting that, because this Chansey literally only has Light Screen. I didn't intend for it to survive, so that's kind of funny. Yeah, we're near the end here, but I think you do kind of see the difference, though. Like, here's Dragonite, and I think Swordsdance is still the right play here, although Dragonite could still be pretty annoying. I try to avoid using Wrap in my videos, so for things like Victory Ball, I prefer just to go straight for Razor Leaf. But it's kind of unavoidable to do that with Dragonite here. Thankfully, in this scenario, you don't break out of it per se, but I went for a Hyper Beam just before you actually get the kill. So there's not much I can really say here. Dragonite can Paralyze, go for Agility, and then it's really just a question of, can you move before Dragonite kills you? The answer is yes in most cases. We'll have to see. But at the very least, you have good physical bulk, so Hyper Beam from the strongest physical attacker only did not even 40. That's pretty cool. And this time we have Cloyster. And yeah, you have a very strong special move. And given from the damage range there, 53, I think this is another case where it actually is a big deal that you're using it over Psychic. If it was Psychic, it probably would be, if I had to guess, at least from looking at that, barely just a 3-hit KO. Maybe it would have, or I don't know actually. I don't know. I've never been very good with calcs, unless like, you know, I just put the numbers on the screen. I'm not good at guessing them. We have 2 more left, and these are actually my favorite. I was actually surprised the one that stands switched on the viability rankings. That's pretty cool, but unfortunately for him, he has no business beating a very powerful special attacker like this. So there goes Sandslash. And the last one is debatably my favorite. One that I already knew had a niche in Ubers, but didn't know was all the way in B- tier. And that's Aerodactyl. Good for Aero to find something to do, but yeah, Reflect is not really helping you against Necrozma. And this kind of makes Photon Geysers more unreasonable. The fact that you can just use it between either a physical or a special move. RBY should not have versatility like that. Okay, let's get on to the tier list, and surprise, surprise, it has no bad matchups. Was there anything there you thought could have been a bad matchup? Let's be nice and put Zapdos in could go either way. But yeah, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. You know what else is crazy? The fact that I can look at a tier list like this, where there's no really any bad matchups, and think to myself, yeah, this is mostly fine. Because it's Ubers. It's Mewbers, for crying out loud. Mewtwo and Mew are still insane. And if this was Mewtwo and Mew, we would have, like, I don't know, move most of these to great matchup, but then put Exeggutor, Slowbro, and Snorlax and could go either way. Like, it's busted. Completely busted. But that's one Necrozma down. We have 3 more to go. I'm pretty sure Duskmane is the one with Solgaleo, right? I think I'm going to do that one next. And I'm going to say it's... do I think the Solgaleo will be the best one? Hard to tell. But we'll have to find out later. Hopefully you're going to enjoy this one, a mini-series of mine. And be sure to join the Discord server. We have a tournament going on. And while it's too late to join, at the very least we do have roles if you'd like to watch it. Or if you'd like to have, like, do other things. Because we are probably also going to be having a Smash Bros. Tournament and opening a Minecraft server in the future. I don't know, there's a lot of stuff up in the air, but I want to do a lot of stuff to celebrate the success of my channel. And I hope you see you there. But until next time, this is Groundback, and I look forward to hearing from you.